Warning, censorship. Warning, censorship.
I had to rehearse my horse a little bit because he'd never been to town before, and that's pretty much downtown at the courthouse. And then people started to show up about an hour later, and I joined in the march. Police were there, and they did their best to discourage me. I got a deal on the horse. They gave me a $100 ticket for the horse. And I told the police that were there, I said, I never thought I'd live to see the day that you couldn't ride a horse in Calgary. People wonder why I brought a horse. It's because cowboys have a natural aversion to walking. That's why we learned to ride.
Hey guys, this is extremely important. Rebel News is going to keep fighting to bring you the other side of the story, but it's only a matter of time before YouTube shuts us down entirely. So I need you to go to rebelnews.com now and sign up to make sure you don't miss out on any of the action. Adam Soos here for Rebel News in the beautiful and windy foothills of southern Alberta. I'm excited because today I get to tell you the story of a real-life cowboy who stood up to authority and won. Ken Finlayson is one of our Fight the Fines clients. He received 2 tickets. Firstly, a $1,200 ticket for attending a freedom march in Calgary, Alberta, and secondly, a $100 ticket because he showed up on his horse. He may be the very first horse in history to receive a COVID ticket. So I'm excited to be joined by Ken Finlayson in a moment here. We're also going to be joined by Chad Williamson of Williamson Law, who's going to tell us a little bit more about this Fight the Fines victory.
Yeah. My dad's uncle, Bull Stewart, was badge number 400 in the Northwest Mounted Police. I got in there early, so I was able to park right in front of the courthouse. That was kind of handy, and I had to rehearse my horse a little bit because he'd never been to town before, and that's pretty much downtown at the courthouse. There was a park there, so it was kind of a wading pool. I rode him around in there for a while. And then people started to show up about an hour later, and I joined in the march. I rode at the back of the march because I didn't want to have any problems with the horse. So, yeah, people were friendly, even the police. Actually, the police gave me a lot of warnings. In fact, before people even started showing up, the police were there, and they did their best to discourage me. But they're very polite about it. But they told me what would happen and what the fine would be, and I told them I just need a little time to make up my mind. So I decided. So all these people showed up, and we just joined in, and. People wonder why I brought a horse. It's because cowboys have a natural aversion to walking. That's why we learned to ride.
Yeah. So you joke that your horse is kind of your walker?
Yeah, he is my walker. Yeah.
And so was there a specific reason you decided to bring the horse, though? Like, was there something fundamentally Albertan about it that you thought should be represented?
Yes. I thought that nothing is more symbolic of Calgary and the Stampede City. In fact, in the larger context of Alberta. And so I thought, being on horseback spoke to that. Like Calgary has a great sense of community, and to a large degree, it's grounded in this Western image. It's branding. Calgary has a brand. Mm-hmm. All kinds of cities have tried brand, but Calgary's got this 100-year-old brand. Yeah. So that's a big part of the reason why I brought the horse.
Awesome. So what sort of reaction did you expect from people? You said it was for, have you ridden horses much in Calgary, or was this a unique experience for you?
That was the second time I'd ridden a horse in Calgary. I rode in the 100th anniversary Stampede Parade. And, but no, that was it was even more unique in that it was a protest. It was more important than a parade, so I like that.
And what was people's reaction to the horse in general?
Oh, they just loved it. A lot of people wanted to pet him and stuff, and of course I let them. And they just loved the horse. People love horses. Yeah.
And so, what sort of reaction did you expect to receive from the police?
I kind of I expected the reaction I got, that they were going to try to discourage me, because a couple of weeks before I had tried the same thing. But I failed, and so I came into Calgary, and I had my GPS set to get whatever address that is, to Olympic Plaza, whatever. And I got in the left lane with a horse trailer. I'd never been downtown Calgary with a horse trailer. And I got in the left lane to get, because the GPS said I had to turn left at the next corner. And I turned left, and I turned right onto the, what do you call that train downtown?
The C train?
Yeah, I was on the C-train track, and the train was coming. But I was already around the corner with a horse trailer, so some policemen quickly got in there and stopped the train. And I knew that they would be having words with me, but their first priority was to get me out of there. So I made a U-turn on the C-train track, went around and turned left at the next corner where I saw a parking lot. So I pulled in there, planning to unload my horse and attend this protest or march. And I pulled in there, but of course I had some company pretty quick wearing Calgary police uniforms. And they told me that there was no way that I was going in to ride that horse. And anyway, I thought, like most people that take part in that kind of a demonstration, I'd just be stubborn and go. Well, then they started listing off the things that I'd be fined with. And I was okay with being fined for riding a horse and not wearing a mask or whatever, but then there was one little glitch. I just moved here from British Columbia, and I hadn't transferred my place to Alberta yet. And they did a little search, and my plates were no good. So then they informed me that in addition to all these other charges that everybody else would get for being at the march, I was going to get some extra ones. Among them, impound my car. They needed 2 tow trucks because they couldn't tow the car and the horse trailer hooked together, so I have to pay for 2 tow trucks. Then they couldn't tow that thing away to the compound with the horse in it. So they're going to hire somebody to haul the horse to the vet clinic, which is pretty well 5-star hotel rates, $500 a night. So I started doing the arithmetic, and the policeman said to me, I tell you what, if you leave, we'll look the other way. So that was my first experience. And so to answer your question, I expected the police to try to, get rid of me. They did the first time, but I got there the second time. I had Alberta police the second time.
So in the face of all of that, you thought it was important to persist and attend and sort of make this point. Pretty cowboy attitude?
I did. Yeah, I wasn't being belligerent, but, there was probably 1,000 people there, and peaceful protest, right? Yeah. And I did think the horse thing, tied into the Calgary brand.
So tell us about the tickets that you did end up receiving.
They gave me a ticket very politely, explained it in detail. One was for being at the rally or the march, I think without a mask. I think that was the issue. And that ticket was $1,100 or $1,200. I got a deal on the horse. They gave me a $100 ticket for the horse. And I told the police that were there, I said, I never thought I'd live to see the day that you couldn't ride a horse in Calgary.
Well, I mean, you may be one of the only people in the world to receive a COVID ticket as well as to have your horse receive a COVID ticket. So that's certainly something interesting. Can people expect to see... What's the horse's name? We don't know the horse's name.
His name is Jumping Jack.
Jumping Jack. So can we expect to see Jumping Jack at any future marches?
I think so, yes.
He can become an official mascot for the resistance, or maybe an unofficial mascot. Do you have any words from one cowboy to the government of Alberta?
Well, cowboys got a lot of words, but we can't say them to the government. Well, I think we hear all the time about listen to the science. Now, a lot of people think that cowboys only ride horses to keep their knuckles from dragging on the ground. But, we actually read and can form whole sentences sometimes. And when they all talk about follow the science, we're all for that. So that's what we've been doing. And we think the Alberta government needs to do that instead of having this mass hysteria.
So if Rebel News had not been there with the Fight the Fines campaign to back you with a lawyer, is this a fight you would have been as eager to take, or was the program really something that motivated you to take a stand in this fight?
Well, I guess I would have took a stand anyway. I mean, that's why you show up in the first place. And but I'm just really overwhelmed at the way Rebel News handled it. There was certainly lots of people in my corner, but Rebel News was the best lawyer experience I ever had in my life. They just were upbeat, positive, took care of everything. I didn't have to do anything. It was just great. Yeah, I had a great experience with Rebel.
I want to thank Ken for sharing his story. And now for a bit of the legal perspective surrounding the case, I wanted to jump to his lawyer, Chad Williamson of Williamson Law. Chad is one of the best litigators in the country fighting against these unjust tickets and fines. So we're looking forward to hear how we landed this Fight the Fines win for our client.
What can I say? Ken is a true Alberta gentleman. And can you imagine somebody getting a ticket for riding a horse in Calgary, the heart and gem of the New West? Yeah, a little bizarre. So suffice to say, we were extremely pleased when we got the information that these tickets had been quashed, which essentially means that they're out of the system. We'll no longer need to reply to them at this time. However, the charging officer has the option to relay the charges within a 6-month period. Now, we're optimistic that that's not going to happen, and we hope that Ken and his trusty steed will be able to ride off comfortably into the sunset, as so many cowboys in Calgary have done before. So we're all smiles down here today. The guy's a true beauty, and we feel that he got a just result. Now, we're also fighting dozens of other lockdown fines. Some have actually been set down for trial, and we're gearing up to aggressively defend those claims, and we're working fastidiously on preparations for some of the trials that we have coming up. And these will be interesting, and obviously there's going to be some constitutional issues there that will need to be put before the court and addressed. But for today, we've got great news that the lockdown cowboy is a free man, and he gets to go back to doing what he does best.
There's something fundamentally Albertan about a cowboy hopping on his horse and riding into town to oppose injustice. The spirit of freedom is clearly alive and well in the West. And if you want to be part of that fight, I need you to go to fightthefines.com. Thousands of people have received unjust tickets and fines, just like Ken Finlayson. You're not alone. We're working to crowdfund to help you cover your legal fees so that your fight won't cost you a cent. So go to fightthefines.com and share your story. We've got your back. Thanks for watching. We'll see you out there. For Rebel News, I'm Adam Soos. You can be part of the fight for freedom if you're willing to stand up for Ken, his horse jumping Jack here, or any of the other thousands of Canadians who've received ridiculous fines or tickets. Go to fightthefines.com. If you make a donation there, that's going to go to the Democracy Fund, which is a charitable organization. We don't see a penny of it. It goes straight to them. You're going to get a tax receipt for that donation because they are a charitable organization. And that money is going to go straight to the lawyers who are fighting these ridiculous tickets and fines. Again, go to fightthefines.com and be part of the fight for freedom.